So when you're working on anything related to the Power Platform, you kind of need to wear a load of different hats. So one of the hats that you might want to wear is as a business analyst. So somebody comes to you, they've got a requirement, you need to work out what to do. You might also then need to know about licensing. You might need to know about governance. You might need to know about data, engineering, best practice, loads of different things. And you end up wearing loads of different hats. Now, what I've built is absolutely, well, I think it's magic. So I have written a plugin which I can put into Claude. In fact, hey, I'll show you. So if I were to ask, let's say I want to ask a question of Claude, I've got one that I've saved here. I'm going to ask this question, and the question I'm asking is, if I were to create an agent in Copilot Studio that used SharePoint as a knowledge base, and I wanted to make it available to 100 employees, but I don't have 365 licenses, how much would it cost, and what's the best way to license it? Now, I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to show you how that would work in Copilot. So just that prompt. Let's paste it in. And then I'll show you the difference, what I've set up, the magic. So, not clear, generic, not specific. If I ask that question of the agent that I've created in Copilot Studio, what I've got in here is a number of different personalities, and I've given those different personalities knowledge. For example, I've got, when I ask a question, it all gets routed through to a person called Nathan. Nathan then routes it through to individual agents that have a conversation with each other before coming back to me with an answer. And I have got a very specific answer from Jordan, who was the agent I set up, who was a licensing specialist. Jordan has got the current 80-page licensing guidelines for Microsoft Power Platform and for Copilot Studio. So when I'm asking questions of this agent, I'm not getting generic responses. I'm getting responses that are grounded in the latest information available on licensing. That's why this response is so specific. It's giving me some recommendations. It's asking me information about the project, but let me show you how I've set this up, because it really is magical. So I've got a number of different personas. Let's have a look at Alex. Alex, here we go. So Alex is a Power Platform solutions architect. These are sort of markdown files that are fed into my plugin to give it a way of working. So I've got Alex, which is Power Platform architect, Cara, who is a Power BI visualization expert. I've got Jordan, licensing expert. Jordan has got specific knowledge that he can pull on. He can pull on these licensing guidelines. Marcus, who's governance. I won't go through all of these, but I've got all of the kind of people that you would normally rely on for these type of questions. And then I've got a special agent that I've set up, and that's this Nathan character. So this character, how it works is when I ask a question of Claude, Nathan acts as an orchestrator. He asks questions of these individual characters who then feed back information. And because they act as individuals, they can kind of argue with each other, and I want that. I want that tension. If there's a difference of opinion between these characters, Nathan tries to arbitrate. If there can't be an agreement reached, let's pick a character here. I've got Marcus, who I know is my governance and security expert. But I've got Ravi, who's my data engineer. If for some reason those two disagreed on the best way of doing something, then Nathan would flag that up to me and say, Martin, There's been a disagreement. Here's the opinion of these two. Which way do you want to go with this? Honestly, they've got ways of working. They've got ways of not working. I've given them a voice, so how they come across. I've given them a personality. I've given them a way of approaching problems and a way of pulling all of this together. What I've created is a virtual workforce so that people used to come to me with these type of licensing questions. They used to come to me with all their governance questions. And if it was a question I'd asked before, great, I'd give them an answer. But if it's a specific licensing question, I'd be opening up the PDFs, I'd be reading it, I'd be working it out, I'd be going through the calculators. That might take a while to do. But with this, because I've loaded that data in, these answers are now at light speed. So it's a way of amplifying your ability to answer questions by creating this type of plugin. And how I've done this is I've used Claude Code to write the plugin for me. And then I save the responses back so that my team, my virtual team, if you like, has a memory of the projects that it's worked on before. So I've set up a GitHub repository whereby if we have a look in, let's have a look in our projects folder. Here we go. So I've kind of got a memory of projects that I've worked on. So I asked one here, which was about GitHub integration. I asked one here, which was about moving Claude plugins to the cloud. These are individual projects that have their own individual responses, but I can reference those immediately via my plugin. I can just go to the plugin. I can say, hey, Nathan, I'd like us to revisit the project where we talked about integration. I have a few more questions. And it would then instantly be able to access all of the previous discussions that we'd had and supplement those with the additional knowledge. Now, when I'm editing this is super powerful. So when I want to edit this plugin, the other thing that I've got is this Claude Code plugin built in that has knowledge of the code that I've written. So if I wanted to go in and make changes to my code, I could, or I could just ask questions to Claude and have it make changes to my code that I could then push out and update my plugin. So what are we doing here? We are using Claude in the way it's intended. We are giving it multiple personas so they get better quality answers. We are using Claude to write the plugin for Claude. So we're using AI in many, many different ways. But a simple way to test this would be to ask this question of your IT team. Give them that exact question and see how long it takes for them to come back to you. Because this answer's right is the one that I would have given. And in a way, it's still me giving it, but I'm giving this answer in seconds. And people don't normally have the ability to surface this level of information in seconds. So this is a way of fast tracking your teams, giving them superpowers. You're using their own knowledge when you're creating this type of agent. If we look, so I am writing, I've got experience in doing all of these jobs. But what is this one? Power Platform Solutions Architect, core principles. I've set these core principles, way of approaching problems. I've instructed it how I approach problems. I'm saying don't do this. Do this. Use this knowledge source. So it's my knowledge surfaced quicker than I could surface it. And all I need to do is to keep an eye on this, keep training these models, keep making them better. I've made this transferable so that I can move this. So, I work for company A. One of the things that I could do is my governance agent here, I'd have a conversation with the guys. I'd explain what it is that I wanted to do. I would ask them about their best practices, their approaches, and I would build that into my agent. So I'm working in a compliant, fast, knowledgeable, powerful way to answer business problems using AI. So Claude plugins, relatively easy to write. Give it a bash.